this mass, this massive confusion that's just so solid and so cemented together begins to loosen, begins to crack a bit, and little gaps appear between things. And you take refuge in those gaps, you find the gaps. So there's a space between this thing and that thing. And in that space there is clarity. And in that space there isn't anybody, there is no person. And that part of us that wants to be free, that's its home. It's discovering itself in that space. And in that space, with the clarity that comes with that space, you begin to understand all of this stuff that you get caught by. And you can look at it and you can begin to discover that the way to liberation and freedom is to learn to let go, not to hold on to these things, but learn to leave them alone, let them come to be and cease to be. Because you have that space that can only be there when you have awareness. And that awareness, so when you stand you know you're standing, when you sit you know you're sitting, etc. That's called awareness when you're there. Nothing special, but you know that you're present and you're there. That's commitment. That's the real meaning of commitment, is to commit yourself to come into that space, to come out of that, out of your little comfort zone. When you're in awareness, when you're truly in awareness, in that no-thingness, you're not in your comfort zone. There is no comfort zone. There is no self. There isn't that bit that wants to control and manipulate. And that's why it's a huge, massive challenge to us. There we can feel vulnerable. There, the fear that we do our best to avoid, that fear can come up and challenge that space, challenge your awareness. And it's for us to have the commitment to stay with that fear, with that reaction that comes up, that wants to get back into control. That when you're in awareness, there is no controller. But when you lose your awareness, then the controller is there. Then it's got you in its power, got you in its little box, whether you like it or not. And actually, you don't like it a lot of the time. It's not a case of going in and out whenever it suits you. When you're in prison, you're in prison. When you're in prison, you want to be free, don't you? You want the door to be open so you can go out and feel, experience life outside of your prison. But of course, the door's always locked, isn't it? Whether you like it or not. Well, not often you do like it, I would imagine, if you're in that sort of environment. So you don't have a choice. And that is what we need to be really honest with ourselves about. That commitment, and to know that, and to be willing to come into our awareness, to nurture, to see that awareness is the key, is the jewel. To be aware is in a sense is all you need, because everything will just take care of itself from awareness. Things will just begin to open, and it's almost like a natural process. It's like you're taken by it. It's all about awareness. And when you're not in awareness, you're in your bubble. You're in your little box. And when you're in your box, you're just what you've always been, and then you reinforce it continually reinforce it with the chattering and the habits that you've got of chasing after things, running away from things, etc. So you just reinforcing the prison. And it's that willingness to catch yourself, and to do that, and have that aspiration to come back, to be in that clarity of awareness, means that you are by definition, you are letting go. You are letting go, and there are things that are presenting themselves to you that are part of your habit of attachment, and you can see them come, and you say no, no. When you have clarity, when you have that awareness, you have the ability to say no. You have that little space before you fall into your habit, before you become blind and get lost in whatever it may be. And this is why it's the jewel. This is why it's the most essential. You can't compromise. There's no compromise with this. It's not negotiable. Is that when you have that clarity there, even if it's only for a second, we all know we can't walk down the road with an empty mind and get 5 minutes walking down the road and not have a single thought all the way. And think, well, I can't do it, I'm a failure. It isn't about getting to the end of the road by being thoughtless and by being at one, and then, oh, I've achieved, I've done it. It isn't about that at all. That's not what it is. That is an ideal that it's almost impossible to fulfill, and it's not the point. It is not the object of the exercise. Because if it were, we'd all be failures, and we'd all realise very quickly, I can't do this. In no way can I spend the next 5 minutes walking down this road without thinking and being at one foot in front of the other, like when we walk. It's just with this empty, no thingness, awareness. You're not going to pull that off. And if you think that's what it's about, you're going to be disillusioned very quickly and you'll give up. It isn't that. What it is your willingness to catch yourself and to come back into that awareness, even if it's only for a few seconds. Then you lose it. There's not a problem with that. Beat yourself, oh, I can't, oh, no good. Beat yourself up and just reinforce all that negativity. No, if that's what you do, that's how it is. But then to catch yourself and to come back, same as on the cushion, to catch yourself and to come back into, if you're walking, come back into the walking, like walking round here. There you're nurturing, you see, this is, you're putting in place the true spirit of what this thing is that we do, this thing called practice that we do, the spirit, the true spirit, and this is, and that spirit is in the place, is in the same place is where that part of you that wants to be liberated is. So what you're doing is that you're bringing your true nature, you're bringing that part of you that won't let you go, that you can't bury, however much you would love to do so often. In that moment, in it's 1 second or a few seconds, in that very short, you're inviting that, you're bringing that back there, and you're recognizing it, you're becoming familiar with it, it's becoming something that you recognize, and you're bringing that right in front of you, and you become it, and in that moment you're selfless. In that moment you're outside of your bubble. And when you're outside of your bubble, you have the potential to stay outside of your bubble. You lose it, you're back in. But when you're out, in that moment you've got the clarity, and that's what we need to nurture, the clarity. 1 second, 2 seconds, 5 seconds, the ability to ponder the whole business, to quietly ponder, is to come back into that space and to know that this is it. This is where liberation is. It's not in a different realm, on the other side of the universe, or some mysterious, mystical thing that we can so easily imagine it to be when we read all these things, and we listen to these people, and with all the music that goes with it. that evokes this sort of, oh God, this sort of dreamy, it's somewhere else notion. It is not somewhere else. It is in the mundane, and it's right where your feet are at this moment. That's where paradise is to be discovered. That's where your liberation, your freedom is to be discovered.